Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Family Sedan channel. Who out there's ready for some positive news, damn it? Well, mostly positive news anyway. Because on-chain analytics firm Sentiment, and I'm a pretty big fan of them, they do great work, they're anticipating an imminent rally for XRP. Separate from that, there's an analyst who says that XRP in the short term looks like it could be breaching 69 cents on the low end. And I always find that fascinating because typically when you see analysts say stuff like this, they're not even factoring in the end of the SEC v Ripple case. They're just looking at the charts and saying, here's what I think is most probable. Here's the reasons A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. But on the negative side, I've always said, look, my stance is that the bottom was in this past November for crypto markets with the whole FTX debacle. That was a capitulation event where I happily bought people's fear. And so that was the bottom. And my only caveat is it might not be the bottom if, this is why there's just this one caveat, if we have a black swan event. If we have one of those wild card events, nobody could see it coming, and it's not even necessarily having to be related specifically to crypto, just something that spooks markets, well, okay, then fine. But outside of something wacky and unexpected like that, an outlier event, no, the bottom's already in. That's just my personal opinion anyway. Well, what if we do have a bunch of more crisis nonsense happening? Remember all those banks that were collapsing earlier in the year? What if we're not done with that? Well, here's a headline from the Daily Huddle. Second wave of banking crisis incoming. Crash could rival 2008 global financial fallout. Macroeconomic expert George Gammon. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice. And you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, so what does Sentiment have to say? Because again, I like these folks. Because I'm always endlessly fascinated by on-chain data and what it might mean. Well, the piece reads as follows. Crypto analytical platform Sentiment has shared the reason behind the recent downward trend affecting XRP, forecasting an imminent rebound. Sentiment, a reputable crypto market analytical tool, has recently shed light on the reason behind the recent decline in XRP's price. According to a tweet by Sentiment, top cap cryptocurrencies are currently being traded at a loss following a period of high profit taking. The phenomenon is contributed to the drop in prices observed across the market, with XRP and Cardano experiencing an exceptionally high amount of selling at lower prices. However, the tweet also suggests that this situation may soon pave the way for potential price bounces. So, folks, this stuff is never surprising to me. You know, like here you can see this is just a 7-day price chart just on live coin watch from XRP. And it's nice to see it up a little bit today. Cool. Up, 1.26% over the last 24 hours. Okay, cool. Take it. But look, we've had a great year for XRP so far in terms of price action. We actually have, all things considered, and given that it is at an artificially suppressed price because of the SEC, it's all things considered anyway, it's actually been pretty damn good. XRP's up substantially from the beginning of the year, but nothing goes up forever. Eventually, people that bought lower, if they're not as long-term thinking as, for instance, myself, eventually they do want to take some profit. And you know what happens. You get a bunch of people after the price goes up and start selling. Okay, fine. But very frequently, that just means that, you push the price down far enough, that creates more opportunity for different people who are ready to jump in. So it's not actually particularly surprising, and it's positive news. It's not going to go down forever. Unless you think XRP is going to cease to exist, which I sure as hell don't believe. And there are all sorts of analysts that are very optimistic. In fact, we're at a point now where it's actually kind of hard to find analysts out there that aren't optimistic to at least some degree. Because it's so clear at this point that, the worst is behind us. It really is, except for, the caveat situation I cited. But it's a lot different than what you were seeing both from a lot of the fly-by-night type analysts in January. Talking about, Bitcoin's going down to 10,000 or 12,000, whatever it may be. Which you can imagine what that would have meant for XRP if that happened. It would have gone way, way, way down to what degree. Well, everything would have tanked at that point. But enough time has passed for people like, well, I guess that was wrong. You think? At this point, it's pretty damn obvious. So what can we expect in terms of upside movement? Well, I always appreciate perspective from the analyst types out there. Here's a headline from the Crypto Basic. XRP to breach 69 cents, surging by 48% upon breakout of multi-month downtrend. XRP has not been immune to the ongoing market-wide correction, recently plummeting below the 47-cent price. Due to its bearish situation, XRP is currently trading below a multi-month downtrend. However, analysts envision a surge above 69 cents once a breakout succeeds. And again, I want to elaborate, just say one more time, this is not XRP specific. The market has been moving in tandem. Peace and Natives. Crypto analyst CoinsKid made this assertion in his latest analysis of XRP's price movements. The prominent chartist referenced an XRP chart on the daily time frame to drive home his point. CoinsKid called attention to a downward trend line on the chart. XRP has continued to trade below the line throughout the year. However, the asset attempted to break above it during the March rally, which resulted in a high of 58 cents on March 28th. Yeah, and I will note, of course, that what triggered that, and I'm sure many of you will recall, it was when we had the news break. Very positive news in the SEC v. Ripple case. Judge Torres ruled in such a way that it was notably favorable regarding the Daubert motions, which it's the expert witness motions. The SEC just got clobbered on that front, and it just decimated notably important chunks of their arguments against Ripple, which would have ultimately harmed XRP holders. A lot of that was just chucked out, and Ripple got to keep pretty much all the stuff that was important regarding expert witness testimony. So on a scale of 1 to 10, yeah, I'll give that 2 thumbs up. That's for damn sure. But anyway, so that was the beginning of March. I think it was March 6th, and that's what set it off. And so it's exciting to see a jump like that triggered by something like this, and that's not even the conclusion of the case, which is why if we saw that just from the Daubert motions, and that got people that excited, it really makes me excited to kind of to just ponder what might things look like in terms of XRP price action, assuming this case ends, Judge Torres rules regarding the motion for summary judgment, and it's positive for XRP. If that happens, that would make me wonder. But anyway, piece continues. Upon hitting the line, the resistance stationed by the bears saw XRP drop to previous lows. The asset declined to 41 cents on May 8th. Nonetheless, bullish updates and speculation surrounding the Ripple v. SEC lawsuit triggered increased market activity. And so they go on a note down here, according to CoinsKid, should XRP successfully break above this trend line on the daily time frame, a rally to 69 cents could materialize, and he said that would be the minimal price target. And so like I said at the outset of the video, I always find it fascinating because, again, that's just based on what this individual thinks makes the most sense based on what he sees in the charts. That has nothing to do with the conclusion of the SEC v. Ripple case. So pile that on top. And if you want to pile on top potentially really good price action, as many are expecting for Bitcoin, which leads the market, could be quite the recipe. Unless we get a wildcard event. Womp, womp, womp. Look at the headline from the Daily Huddle. Again, it is Second Wave of Banking Crisis Incoming, Crash Could Rival 2008 Global Financial Fallout. Macroeconomic expert George Gammon believes a second wave of bank failures is on the horizon. In a new update to his 480,000 YouTube subscribers, Gammon points to a parabolic burst of bank borrowing from America's Federal Home Loan Bank, FHLB for short, the system, and the newly formed Bank Term Funding Program, which is BTFP for short, as major indicators that signal more banking failures are on the way. Yeah. Well, I mean, this wouldn't necessarily surprise me, but here's what this guy had to say. Quote, when these troubled banks need liquidity, their first option, because it's way cheaper, is going to be the marketplace, the repo market as an example. But they're sophisticated lenders, so banks go to their next best option, which would be the FHLB. But they really hesitate to do that because although it's this stealth bailout, it is very expensive and the terms quite often are very draconian. But then let's say you're so bad that the FHLB doesn't even want to do business with you. What do? Well, before you wave the white flag, you've got to go right down here and go to the ultimate lender of last resort, and that would be the Federal Reserve. You'd try to access a facility such as this new BTFP, end quote. Gammon says latest stats from the Federal Reserve Economic Data System, which show sharp and ongoing rises in borrowing from both FHLB and BTFP, signal the banking crisis is far from over. And so here's another quote from him. We know that the banking crisis is far from over because of the chart of the advances of the FHLB is still extremely high and going even higher. We can also combine this with the BTFP being extremely high and it hasn't come down yet. End quote. Yeah, so look, I'll just say this. Maybe the guy's right. Maybe a bunch more banks end up collapsing. It's plausible at a minimum. Okay. Either way, I'll just say this, and this is why I personally am not exactly going to be freaking out. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I don't think that there's a snowball's chance in hell that the United States federal government, the Federal Reserve specifically, like the idea that they wouldn't make sure that every single depositor is completely backed, like the idea that they wouldn't make sure that happens no matter what. I think that's kind of ridiculous because they understand that without that, there isn't trust in the system, and then there's a bank run on every single bank in the country just about. Like, I don't think that they're going to allow a situation like that, regardless of what actual rules and parameters are currently in place. Regardless of that, I just don't think that they're going to allow. Look at how the Biden administration has responded to what happened earlier this year with the bank failures. Everybody's taken care of, and without specific actions and policy changes, no, you would have seen the situation be way worse, frankly. So do you think that there's, even if there were an administration change, like do you really think that the federal government is just like, too bad, so sad, I guess nobody's just going to trust the system anymore and no confidence in the dollar anymore, or whatever it may be? Oh, at least as it's used within the United States here, because banks we run. What do you think that means? And actually, frankly, that would be the chain reaction of this, frankly. You can imagine, because if you had that level of bank runs, you can imagine what it would do to the economy and what that would do to the value of the dollar when paired against other fiat currencies or assets across the world. Like, it would just be one of those snowball type of situations. So, again, I'll just say this. Could be right. I don't pretend to know. I'm just going to say that even if he's right and a bunch of banks go belly up, I'm kind of skeptical of this being something that would be a true black swan event. So maybe, and look, and I'll give you this. It could spook markets to some degree, but is it something that's going to be so scary that we're going to see crypto dip below November lows from last year? I'll give that a very low probability. That's just my personal opinion. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, but I don't find that to be the most probable outcome. So I just thought I'd talk about it because it's fascinating and everything is intertwined. When you're talking about crypto and what's happening here, it's intertwined with all the other aspects of legacy finance and other sectors, so on and so forth. So it's just something to just tuck away in the back of your mind at a minimum. But I'd say sleep easy. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon family sedan.